How good are we feeling? We're sitting just shy of 100K. Guys, I need your involvement on today's presentation. I'm chronically online. I'm always watching the market prices. I'm going to get stuck into the presentation, but if we pump over 100K, I need you guys to get excited with me, shout out, make a big song and dance, okay? So that's your involvement for today. I'm going to get stuck into it straight away. My name is Bisher from Stormrake. We're your easiest way to buy, sell, and swap crypto in Australia, so hopefully we get to see some of you guys coming on board with us. I'll give you guys a little bit of a highlight of what we've done. We started off as an arbitrage trading desk. Essentially what that meant is we were facing 30 different exchanges looking to buy and sell Bitcoin, buying it on a lower exchange and selling it on a higher one. And that was working really well. But over the years, the arbitrage opportunities became thinner and thinner and thinner and smaller and smaller and smaller. But we did find that it would work really well as a brokerage. So we wanted clients to come in and get an easy way to on-ramp, easy way to off-ramp. So for us, I love exchanges. I think exchanges are a fantastic way to be able to use their facilities to get into the market. We, as a true market broker, are able to jump on and get the best price for you. So that's essentially what we've done. We've been expanding the team. We've been doing all the right things to make sure that you guys can have a really simple service, because as you walk around the Aussie Crypto Convention, I guarantee you everybody's got a platform. Everybody's got something for you to log into. We're trying to change it up a little bit in the crypto space and be a service-first based business. So that way you can be able to access our liquidity, but not having to trade on the platform just through a simple phone call or an email. A little bit about myself, and then I'll get stuck into some of these strategies. My entire life has been dedicated towards financial markets in one way, shape, or form. Started off in foreign exchange, went over into crypto space, and I'm so grateful that I did, because the crypto markets are the truest form of a market. It's always on, 24/7, super liquid. You can get access to your Aussie dollars by selling your BTC on Christmas Day, New Year's Day, it doesn't matter. This is why I love this market so much, and we're always available to you guys as well, 7 days a week, 365. And now I'm running the brokerage team at Stormrake. So without further ado, let's actually get stuck into the presentation, because you're not here to hear about Stormrake, you're here to hear about some crypto combat strategies. On the side, I do enjoy a bit of Jiu-Jitsu and boxing, so that's a little bit about me, so hence the name of the presentation. What you guys are looking at here, I can't say that I claim it myself. I believe this is from Fidelity Research. What's super interesting about it is it shows you different asset classes and how they perform against each other, how they stack up against each other. Just out of curiosity, outside of cryptocurrency, do you guys invest in anything else? Equities, precious metals, hands up, anything other than crypto? Okay, beautiful. Who is all in on crypto? That's me. All right, there's a few of you. Okay, so we're talking about a little bit of diversification here. I'm never going to be the first person to advocate for adding other assets into your portfolio other than cryptocurrency. But at the same time, I understand why people would. But what's super interesting about Bitcoin, and the reason why I think that everybody should hold BTC predominantly, and I'll also ask you guys a couple of questions about this as well, is that it outperforms everything, even within the cryptocurrency space, and I'll show that in a second. But as you can see, guys, we're seeing Bitcoin constantly outperform. Now, out of this massive checkerboard quilt, some of you guys are here as traders and analysts. Can anybody for me recognize a pattern in everything that's happening here? Any pattern that exists at the moment? Every 4 years, beautiful, fantastic. What's your name? Alaya, beautiful. So what we're seeing here is that BTC massively outperforms every 3 years, and then it has a bit of a correction, because you can't have the fastest growth asset on the planet without pullbacks along the way. But right now, 2023 has already gone. 2024, Bitcoin is so far up 117% year to date, right? So it's obviously at the top in 2024 as well. Based off this checkerboard quilt, what do you think is going to happen to the market price in 2025, assuming patterns are going to continue? We're going to have another stellar years, ladies and gentlemen, right? 2026, we'll have to assess. Maybe we're in a bit of a bear market. You get to buy Bitcoin at a little bit of a cheaper price, but that cheaper price might be 100 grand. It might be 150. It might be 175. It depends on how far we run in 2025. If you guys thought 2024 was epic for Bitcoin, you guys have seen nothing yet. We're seeing for the first time, it's no longer when institutions are going to come into the space. Retail is already here. You hear that in 2017, 2018. And the big narrative in 2020, 2021 was, when is the institutions going to come? Well, the institutions are here now. You've got Wall Street, you've got ETFs. There's some of the most successful ETFs on the planet are the Bitcoin ETFs. It goes to show you the level of demand that already exists at the institutional level. What's going to drive us a hell of a lot higher in 2025 is the game theory that's going to play out with Bitcoin on nation state level. And so if you think that these last few years have been pretty astonishing, you haven't seen anything yet. But this is why it's so important to have a constant exposure towards Bitcoin in your portfolio, right? Because you might have some equities, you might have some real estate, you might have some precious metals, all kinds of things that you might have in your portfolio. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to talk you out of them. All I'm just saying is that you must maintain constant Bitcoin exposure, because what's going to happen if you try to outperform Bitcoin, it'll just leave you in the dust. I'll give you a pretty recent example of a client of mine who was convinced that Donald Trump was going to lose the election, and he sold all his Bitcoin, and he said, "Nah, I've seen it happen in 2020. They're going to steal the election. It's rigged. Blah blah blah. All this kind of stuff." Sold all his Bitcoin, got out for 1.5 mil worth of BTC. That 1.5 mil would now be closer to 2.9 million, right? It's an unfortunate thing, guys. Don't try to time the market. Try to spend time in the market, because as you can see from the recent year's performance, you're going to get periods of underperformance and massive periods of outperformance. Trying to time this on a consistent basis is a bit difficult. So again, just keep that in mind when you're trying to build up your crypto portfolio and in general your asset portfolio as well. Moving on. Why I say that you should be keeping a constant bit of Bitcoin exposure. Again, this isn't a Stormrake research. I mean, we've found this online. If somebody knows who created it, shout out to them, not us. But anyways, moving on. We are incredibly early, right? A lot of people look at the unit price of Bitcoin and think, oh, yeah, well, the ship has sailed, so I'm going to go out and buy a random altcoin. Or, okay, I'm going to go jump onto Phantom Wallet and I'm going to be in the meme coin trenches, because BTC is nearly at 100,000 US. It's over 150,000 Australian dollars. There's no way that I'm going to make any money in Bitcoin. I'm here to tell you guys, we have seen nothing when it comes to BTC. So in terms of your own crypto portfolio, I'm going to ask you guys a question. You don't have to put your hand up if you don't want to, because it could be a private one. Who here owns crypto but holds no Bitcoin? Okay, we got to change that. We got to change that ASAP. Because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is going to outperform the wider crypto market on any meaningful time frame. In any bull run, you're going to have certain altcoins do really well. Like the Stormrake research team, we're really bullish on Sui right now. We think that Sui is going to do what Solana did in 2020, 2021, and what Ethereum did in 2017, 2018. It's going to do some numbers. But on any meaningful time frame, Bitcoin Sui chart, if you look at the Sui BTC pairing, over the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it'll struggle to outperform Bitcoin. So why would you, as an investor, a trader, whatever it may be, want to hold something in your portfolio that is going to underperform the leading asset in that category? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. And in terms of how early we are, you got to check it out. Real estate is a $380 trillion market. The Australian real estate market alone is worth $11 trillion. BTC, this is a little bit outdated, is closer to 1.8 trillion, but still, you get to understand it. Gold at this point in time is still a market that is 10 times larger than Bitcoin. I'm here to tell you, look at how much energy is in this space. You think, oh, well, there's a lot of people here, there must be a lot of adoption. Yeah, it's climbing, yeah, it's rising, and it's doing better over time. But to be honest with you guys, we've seen nothing. At $1 million Bitcoin, it would have a comparable market cap to that of gold. So if you think about it, I think Bitcoin is going to only become more and more proliferated. Adoption is only going to continue. And within 4 to 8 years, right? I know it sounds like a long time. We've got to get a little bit of patience. We're crypto traders, so I understand we want the wealth and the portfolio value to increase today by 10x. But give me a couple of years and you'll see what you can do with your wealth. Bitcoin will be a comparable market cap of gold within 4 to 8 years. That's the easiest 10x in all of financial markets. The easiest 10x return on investment that you can have. without being a meme coin trader, without having to live on Phantom Wallet, Telegram, X, all of that kind of stuff. You guys have families to lead, businesses to run, work to attend to. You don't have time to be getting alerts at 3 a.m. telling you some random shitcoin has pumped 400%, right? If you want to live that lifestyle, by all means, go for it. But it's not conducive towards an overall asset portfolio that you're trying to appreciate in over time. And you want to have the lowest possible amount of risk, lowest possible amount of stress to be able to be successful with your portfolio. So again, very, very early. There are significant markets that are 10 times larger than where we're at, and we can still have a lot of growth. So don't think that the unit price of Bitcoin denotes the value of Bitcoin, because that's a common mistake that a lot of people make. They jump and they see the BTC at 150K and go, that's it. I've got to go somewhere else. I've got to go into a different altcoin, meme coin, so I can make my 10x returns. I'm here to tell you, you can 10x your portfolio with BTC. You just need to be patient. In terms of where we are on the adoption curve, again, this is not Stormrake's research, found it online. Hopefully whoever can claim it can claim it. Very quickly, there are as many Bitcoin users today as there were internet users in 1999, early 2000. Simply astonishing. You look at how packed this place is, and you'd think that there'd be a lot more Bitcoin users, there'd be a lot more crypto users. But we're not. We're literally in the early 2000s of internet adoption. That's where we are in the crypto market right now. I believe that it'll only continue to proliferate. I believe it'll only continue to grow. Bitcoin's adoption is already faster than internet adoption. And there was a really fantastic quote, and again, it's not mine. Somebody said, the internet didn't have the internet to grow, right? So the internet network had to go through a lot more of infrastructure, took a little bit more work because it didn't have itself to grow out. Whereas Bitcoin can leverage the internet to become faster and become more quickly adopted as a technology. So if you can only imagine where internet was in the early 2000s and how prolific it is in 2024, you can kind of forward think where Bitcoin will be 24 years from now. It's the ultimate retirement portfolio, and it'll be getting you completely ready for whatever you need. Now, this is one of my favorite topics. It looks messy, but we'll work through it together, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you that. What we're looking at the moment is all about 2,400 altcoins performance, their equity curve. And this is going back for about almost 14 years now. So it's pretty extensive. Again, not one of our own, found it online, super interesting stuff. The solid black line is Bitcoin, is Bitcoin's equity curve, Bitcoin's price performance. And there's a strong red line at the bottom there, which is zero. That's 0% performance. What can you guys, ladies and gentlemen, notice about majority of coins? There's a pattern here. Any patterns? Anything? Majority of coins, they go to zero. Correct, sir. Majority of coins go to zero. Now, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I'm not saying don't trade other coins. I love trading. I'm in the markets all the time. I'm in the trenches with you guys. But in terms of how likely you are in your portfolio to outperform Bitcoin as an average investor or trader is slim to none. This is the hard truth that I want you to walk away with and realize that Stormrake is giving you the absolute truth, because we want to take care of you. We want to see your investment portfolio grow with us over time, rather than come in, buy the latest fad, buy the latest craze, and then only end up with a 99% drawdown and no portfolio value. Majority of coins go to zero, ladies and gentlemen. But again, if you want to live in the markets and you want to seek out that outperformance, it is worthwhile, but it's not going to be conducive towards most investor portfolios. You will outperform inflation. You will outperform bank term deposits. You'll outperform the equity market. You'll outperform precious metals by a significant margin just by simply buying and holding Bitcoin. That is the secret towards your success, because you're going to have some real estate, you got some equity somewhere, you might have a super fund running around. Adding that Bitcoin in is just going to supercharge your portfolio, and hopefully I'm the one looking after that allocation. Last thing that's super important for you guys to understand. If you buy one Bitcoin today, you can buy a house tomorrow. The average Australian home is around 900,000 AUD at the moment. One Bitcoin is 150,000 AUD. In 2014, it took you 3,000 Bitcoins to buy the average Australian home in suburban Sydney or Melbourne. All right? Now, it's about 10 Bitcoins. Last I checked, actually, it's about closer to 6 now with the recent price rise. So if you come to Stormrake and you buy 1 Bitcoin today, you can buy a home within 4 to 8 years with no mortgage, no leverage, no debt, outright. Find your favorite suburb, maybe not Point Piper, that's a little bit out of you might be needing 20 Bitcoins for Point Piper. But in general, the average Australian home, you can be able to buy it outright with 1 Bitcoin. All you need to do is be patient. I promise you this, patience will lead to the most outperformance that you need. This is the hard conversation that we need to have, because as you walk around, people will be offering you and promising you all kinds of crazy returns. But I'm here to give you the reality check that we all need and deserve, so that way we can be wealthy and successful. Moving on, that's me. I'm happy to answer some questions. And there is no second best crypto broker. Go to Stormrake. Beautiful. How do we do the Q&A?
Thank you. Hello. Hi. Thank you for that. I agree with everything you've said, but my one question, if you're saying don't sell Bitcoin, how do you actually use it? Like, you have to sell it to buy a house, so then you've got none anymore.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. How do you unlock the value of your Bitcoin? Look, there's a number of ways outside of having to sell it. Selling down small portions of your BTC to be able to get some value, that's completely understandable. But you don't want to try to sell the whole stack to then try to buy it back later. I'm just trying to say that in general, over trading leads to underperformance. So if you want to realize some value of your Bitcoin, you can either borrow against your BTC, you can sell down a little portion of it, but you don't have to sell the whole stack, buy it all back. Sell the whole stack, buy it all back. Just sell what you need. You know, you might have a family holiday to Thailand or somewhere because BTC's just done 117% year to date. Absolutely, realize some value, but you don't have to try to sell the whole stack to do that. That's my position. Borrow and sell down little bits of it. If we can have the microphone make its way around, I'm not sure how we're going to do this.
Yeah. I put my hand up at the beginning saying that I have a crypto portfolio, but I don't have any Bitcoin. I did have some, I sold it to go into altcoins. And my aim is that at the end of the bull run, which I'll be getting out early, I intend to go back in and buy a Bitcoin then with the profits. What's your take on that logic?
That's an awesome strategy, and I hope that you can be able to hit it. The reason why I recommend just being able to hold at least some Bitcoin during the bull run is that you're setting yourself up for having to time the market, and crypto is one of the most volatile assets on the planet, and I have no issues with volatility. Volatility is your friend, as I always say, but you've got to understand that the likelihood of timing the market to maximize your Satoshi amount it's a very hard game to do. I hope that you can do it, and I hope you can do it with Stormrake as well. We'll give you some good research, but in general, it's always suggested that you just hold a little bit of Bitcoin in that portfolio, so at least you can have some sort of benchmark against your altcoins. So let's say you got a few altcoins, some meme coins. If you've got Bitcoin in your portfolio as your benchmark, you know how you're going against it. And then that way it gives you a relative value as to when you should be potentially cashing out as well. So that's a good strategy.
Just a very last question. What's your exchange? What's your rate? What do we pay to use your services in terms of getting our money out?
Yeah, so our brokerage rate is 2% per transaction, and no spread or no price markup. You don't have to take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. Log into your favorite crypto exchange, give me a call, give my team a call and say, Bish, what's the price of Bitcoin at the moment? What's the price of Ethereum? And you can be able to compare the pair. You don't have to take my word for it today.
Hey man, I was wondering, how often do you dollar cost average compared to cash dump or maybe even short Bitcoin? So, how often do you dollar cost average compared to cash dump your money or even short Bitcoin ever?
What it comes down to is whether you decide to DCA or cash dump. It just depends on where we are in the market cycle, right? Right now, just buying a little bit of BTC consistently is going to be worth your while. Because the time to get really heavy on the cash dumping side of things was probably 4, 5, 6 months ago. What I recommend to most people is, whilst you're trying to build it up, I know it can be a little bit daunting looking at the price of Bitcoin and looking at how many units you end up with for your little bit of Aussie dollars that you send in. But that's why I'm recommending a DCA approach, because then you can be able to see yourself build up your Bitcoin stack without it really trying to make sure that you come in with 50 grand, you're trying to time the market again. Again, most of my suggestions for my clients is to steer you away from trying to time the market and try to spend some time in the market. So yeah, that's what I would recommend if I was in your shoes. Start building up that stack.
I was going to say, do you have any really good indicators that you use to, like, kind of, what's it called, graph the... Damn it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Indicators?
Look, I always recommend to my clients focus on investing rather than trading. You're welcome to trade, don't get me wrong. But most of the time, people who end up trading will just underperform BTC anyway. And indicators, they're lagging by their very nature. Yeah. They're just some sort of derivative of price. Can you use a combination of them to kind of give you an edge on the market? Possibly, but I just recommend just looking at an investment case rather than a trading case. Yeah. Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, my time is up. I've been looking at a red screen for a little bit now. Thank you so much. Come to Stormrake, booth 42. Love you guys. Buy Bitcoin, get wealthy. Let's go.